Do you want to buy a lightsaber but don't know where to start? Well, let me help you with that. I get a lot of comments on my TikToks and videos. People always ask, where do you get your lightsabers? How do you do this? Can you do a tutorial? There's a lot to go into. So get a notebook and some popcorn, because this might take some time. Welcome to Lightsabers Explained. Hello there everybody, welcome to Lightsabers Explained, the show where we go into everything there is to know about lightsabers so you don't have to. I'm your host, Poor Excuse for a Jedi, self-taught lightsaber TikToker, and author of the sci-fi novel, The Spy Who Saved Humanity. If you are watching this, then it is most likely that you're interested in and or considering purchasing a lightsaber for yourself. And if that's the case, let's get into it. First of all, what are your options? Well, there's actually quite a few. Now, of course, there's a bunch of toy lightsabers out there in the flick out and stuff like that. We're talking about the actual companies that sell metal hilts that actually glow in the dark and are professionally built for combat. Even then, there's a lot. There are 4 types of sabers out there: baselets, neopixel, prophy, and replica. Each one with a significant amount of differences. So, what's a baselet saber? Basically what I have in my hand right now. Every lightsaber out there comes with a core. The core is essentially the heart of the lightsaber. It has all the electronics, the power source, the motion sensors, the speaker, the button, the charger, everything, the whole shebang. It's all in one piece, if it's a good saber, that is. Without the core, there's no lightsaber, meaning it's just a bunch of metal pieces that look like a hilt. Most saber companies out there sell LGT parts, which are basically modular, meaning you can switch out pieces. So if I didn't like this grip and pommel section, I could buy a new one, screw it on, and have a brand new looking hilt altogether. Baselet sabers are built using a series of compartments called LGT parts. These parts help to allow easy customization for baselet hilts. They consist of modular parts that can be swapped in and out with other pieces that you can buy online. You can swap out as much as you want and add as much as you want. All that matters is the core and the electronics are still there. A baselet usually consists of these 4 parts: the emitter, the switch, the grip, and the pommel. The emitter is at the very top of the hilt, which houses the blade, which is held down with retention screws and an Allen key. The switch is what holds the saber's core in place. It is usually fastened down by 3 screws. The grip provides better places for your hand to rest on the hilt itself. You can add more grip sections to the hilt to make the hilt even longer. Finally comes the pommel. The pommel serves 2 main aspects of the saber. The first being adding to the main look of the hilt overall. The second being that it protects the core of the saber and all the electronics inside, especially the speaker. All of these parts can be swapped out to create the perfect hilt that you feel is best for you. Now, baselets are modular, and that makes them great, right? Neopixels also can be modular, being that the core is the one thing that makes the saber. That being said, if I wanted to take out this core and put in a neopixel core, I could do that. And I would now have this saber as a working neopixel lightsaber. The difference in a neopixel is the blade. For a baselet saber, the blade is basically a light at the very bottom that goes all the way through this refractive tube. It's a PVC pipe, and it can take a beating. It's a glorified flashlight that changes colors. The difference is a neopixel would have the blade electronics inside of it, where it then has a scrolling effect similar to that of a lightsaber in the actual films. However, neopixels are much more expensive, even as a core itself, than just a simple baselet, being that one is a flashlight and the other one is a blade that has the electronics inside it, being another, I don't know, 60 bucks, alongside the core, probably turning out to $100. And not to mention all the metal pieces, baselets are your cheapest option if you want to have a sword that looks cool, but you can also duel with it. It's the most resistant to combat. So for example, if I were to take a saber and just accidentally, I don't know, launch it across, it's fine. And as you can see, it works just fine. It got thrown in grass anyway, it's not that bad. But an example, you could launch it onto concrete, you could drop it whatever height. Like I said, baselets are the most combat ready. More efficient, more protected, and if you mess up any of the metal pieces, you can easily replace it like that. A neopixel is for the people who are more interested in a saber that looks cool and is actually a bit more accurate to the films rather than theirs being a flashlight. I don't have a neopixel on me at the moment, so enjoy this little clip of showing off what a neopixel is capable of. On top of that, most NeoPixels are capable of being programmed to have different sound fonts, which is a big plus. Sometimes baselets don't allow you to do it. Companies are getting there and allowing them to do it, but most of the time they don't come with an SD card like a NeoPixel would. There are actually digital companies out there that sell sound fonts specifically designed for NeoPixel lightsabers and any other hilt that actually has an SD card you can program. Here's a few of them. Being that a NeoPixel is in fact customizable, you're able to customize all the sound fonts itself as well as the blade effects from different color schemes, maybe a mix match, whatever you want to do. All it is there's a bit of coding and programming involved. So if you want to do that or you're good at that, then go for it. There's also companies out there that do it for you and program your hilt and your SD card to basically do what you want it to. Yeah, there's a whole community into this. Next up are your Sabers. Sabers are basically just like a NeoPixel, but there's more things you can do with the SD card. You can control things like the sensitivity, the color schemes, the light effects, the brightness sometimes, the sensitivity of the swing compared to the motion, the flash on clash effect, the motion sensors, whatever you want to do, you can program it alongside everything a NeoPixel can already do. Sabers really allow you to get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Next up, replica hilts. As defined by Siri, a replica is an exact copy of something, especially on a smaller scale. And I'm getting out of here. And replica hilts are just that, exact replicas from the Star Wars universe of games, movies, and TV show characters. Replica hilts are usually a bit more pricey than the basic LGT parts, though they can be LGT sabers. They can also have baselit electronics or NeoPixel electronics, even Profi. The difference is it's based off of actual characters from the video games, the movies, or the TV shows. And those are your sabers out there. But now how do you decide which saber is the best for you? If you're looking for fighting, combat, actual dueling, baselit is the way to go. If you want something to show off, but you can duel with a little bit, but nothing crazy, a NeoPixel is a good option. If you want something with the whole shebang and you want to just show it off when friends come over, Profi or replica saber is probably where you want to go. And if you want to program something like crazy, also a good option is a Profi saber. A lot of information to process, I know. And sometimes it looks like a cool hilt, but how do you know it's going to be the best for you, right? When picking a lightsaber and finding the perfect one for you, I like to address a little method I like to call the 5 factors. Here's what they are. The 5 factors is a list of attributes and characteristics on a lightsaber that you go through to figure out if it's the perfect hilt for you. They consist of looks, comfort and safety, brightness, weight and length, and accessibility and features. Each factor can be used to provide a better insight into whether or not a hilt is best for you. The majority of them can be applied online before you actually purchase the saber. However, it is much easier to apply the 5 factors when you actually have the saber in hand. Otherwise, you're going to have to look into the description of the hilt to find the factors yourself. Don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. So let's talk about them. Looks is a simple one. You want your hilt to look really freaking cool, right? Comfort and safety is a big one, being that you want the hilt to be comfortable when you're 1, holding it in general, and 2, spinning it and actually using it for combat, dueling, whatever, even performance spinning, whatever you want to do. Either way, that's a big factor, because the last thing you want is to cut your hand open while spinning. You also probably want your hilt to feel comfortable in the hands. You don't want yourself getting some sensory overload from just touching a hilt, you know? Oh my God. Number 3 is brightness. Obviously, you want a lightsaber to be light. You want it to be bright enough to light up the room in any way, metaphorically and physically. If it doesn't light up, you kind of just have a sword without a light and it's a PVC pipe for a blade. I don't know. Hello? Of course, you don't want it too bright. You don't want to, blind yourself like you're at a concert by the weekend. Weight and length. You definitely do not want a saber that is way too heavy to hold for 1 and to spin for 2. You can't always check to see the weight and length of a saber before it arrives, but if you can figure out what the length of the blade is, it's a good way of gauging. Some companies do actually provide the weight, so I recommend looking further into that and seeing if you can find it. These hilts are really just supposed to be milled aluminum, maybe copper a little bit, or steel, whatever it is, not tungsten. And length, of course, you don't want a saber that's way too long for you because it's going to be impossible to swing. It's going to be impossible to spin, hold up in any way. And yeah, if you're starting out, you're not good at it. Probably. As for me, I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm pretty much a professional with any length. There's no issue for me.
Are you good?
Cut the camera!
Are you serious?
Cut the camera! The final factor is what I like to see as the most important, which you can actually check before you even buy the saber. Accessibility and features. Not so much accessibility, but features, 100%, you can see. When I talk about accessibility, I'm referring to how easily you can maneuver through the hilt electronics, being that you change the sound font, how fast you can change the blade color, if you can activate a lockup easily, if you can do flash on clash, blade effects, bullet sounds, whatever it is, even sound fonts or playing music, etc. Accessibility is all about how easily you can get through the hilt, which I think is pretty important in knowing how to use a lightsaber. The features basically is what does the hilt come with? Not how easily you can get through it, but what does it come with? What can you do with it? Does it have motion control? Does it have a color change spectrum? Is the spectrum change easy? Does it have an option where you can switch with a push of a button? Does it have a spectrum that it goes across? Does it have auto-selected colors that it just cycle through? It all varies. I'm talking the whole shebang. And hopefully every company out there talks about what their saber is capable of. If not, maybe not the best company to be looking at. When you're maneuvering through a saber, it shouldn't feel like you're trying to disable a bomb. You know what I mean?
Please just let me change the color. I don't want to be a Sith. Come on.
Understood. Ordering a pizza.
What do you mean you can order a pizza?
Self-destruct mode now engaged.
What do you mean self-destruct? No, I want to change the
7,
color.
6,
No, I need to turn up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
And you also don't want the hilt to have nothing more than a flashlight effect and one color. That's kind of boring, right?
Hey, this thing's pretty cool. What else can I do? Well, you see, it's a flick-out lightsaber, so you can put it back in the hilt where it locks, and then unlock it and flick it out again. I'm sorry? Yeah. No sound, I can't change the colors, nothing? No sound. Just the red blade. This is it? Yeah. I spent $200 on this, and we are very appreciative of your purchase.
Before you purchase a lightsaber, you probably won't be able to fully go into the 5 factors. If you're looking at a website, you should be able to understand the look of it, if you like it or not, the weight and length, hopefully, if they include that, as well as the comfort and safety based on the way the hilt looks, if it looks like it's not going to cut your hand open. As long as it looks good, probably good to go for. And then, of course, accessibility and features. Not all companies do it, but they should talk about it. So if they don't, maybe try a different company. You should be able to tell if you like the hilt or not. You should be able to tell if it's going to be comfortable in the hand to hold, if it's going to have a good grip on it, or anything like that. Alongside the weight and length, if it's a good company, they'll talk about how long the blade is compared to the hilt, and the hilt's weight itself in grams, ounces, whatever it is. And of course, they'll go into the features that their hilt provides, because you want to brag about this stuff, right? This is your electronics, this is your core. You want to brag about the stuff you're doing. If they ain't bragging about themselves, then they ain't worth the time. When you have the lightsaber in hand, the 5 factors is easy to apply and understand exactly what you're going for. So what would be classified a bad example of the 5 factors? Say I want to buy a lightsaber that I want to perform with, film TikToks, spin, and maybe do a bit of dueling with, that actually changes colors and has some sound, right? So what would be the bad example of that? Probably a saber that doesn't have sound, doesn't change colors, maybe isn't safe to hold in the hand, has a weird feel. Sure, it looks cool, but it doesn't feel the best to spin, to hold. Maybe it's a Profi saber and I'm gonna damage it, do some bad damage or scuff the sides of it, and it's gonna make me upset because I ruined expensive hilt. Whatever it is, maybe it's not a replica I want to use. I'd probably want to get a baselit to film, spin with, and do all the crazy things I normally do. So I'm going to show you something that's the exact opposite of that. This looks kind of cool, right? It's lightsaber. It's got a red tinge. It's interesting. It looks like Cal Kestis' lightsaber from Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order. It's got some weird grips on the end of it though. It's a little different. If you are in the lightsaber community, you're probably familiar with this lightsaber. And this is basically known as an Ultrasaber. Ultrasabers are one of the worst lightsaber companies out there, and they are just not the community you want to support, being that they don't treat their workers right, for one. They also pay to be at the very top when you search up lightsaber. You're always going to see their website first. Why? Because they pay $10,000 a month to be up there, and people will buy from them and give them service because they're the first company and they look the best. But let's apply the 5 factors to this thing. Looks. It's pretty sick. It's a cool looking hilt. It's a good thing to have on display. I think if that's what I want to do, I'll display it. Yeah. Comfort and safety. This has horrible grip. Up here is probably the best I'm gonna get, but it's long. It's pretty dangerous, honestly. It's not sharp, but it will definitely do some damage if you hit up here. It'll pinch you a bit. It's got this disgusting feeling thing. It's like holding the edge of a microphone. Not the best. I would have preferred like a little fabric of some kind, whatever. And this blocks my hand so much. It's very sharp. It cuts me a few times. I think I have a few scuffs on my hand already. And yeah, that's not safe for me. That's not what I'm filming with. I would rather cut this thing off clean. Brightness. Well, you hear that? Look at that. You see that? You see the red? It's a flashlight. It's red. And it's only red. No other colors. No sound. Pretty bright, right? Even in broad daylight. Sure, it's bright, but length, long, not super heavy. It's not the end of the world if I hold it. But comfort and safety is already the biggest throw off for me. That is my, I want to put it as number 1, but looks is also a pretty big factor if you're buying a lightsaber. So number 2 comes comfort and safety, being that this is good for you to hold in your hands and it's not going to cut you every 5 seconds. And finally, accessibility and features. Your features are the fact this core is loose. It's not held down. Actually, if I take off this pommel, it's going to make an ugly freaking noise. Okay, and look at this. That's it. Nothing's holding this in place except a little wire which can easily be yanked out, as well as 2 batteries holding it in place with this little Velcro thing. And then you push of a button and it turns on. Look at that. Awesome, right? There's your features. It turns on and off. And it looks cool. Nothing else. And it also shakes like crazy, the core. Sounds weird. Yeah. So, of the 5 factors, this ain't it. And I guess if you want to add a 6th factor, we can talk about price. How much do you think this was? Flashlight. If you said $80, you're wrong as shit. This hilt goes for $120 plus shipping online for this. Get the out of here! So you're probably wondering, why did you do that? Well, that's to show off how actually durable this thing is. They don't turn on no more after that, and usually those lightsabers will take a massive beating beforehand. And if I take off this pommel, ew, shake this out, the core, or the batteries part, broke off instantly. Gone! Doesn't hold in place. I was going to strip this out anyway, to be honest, so that's why I did it. If you're worried about me being upset I just broke a lightsaber. No, this company sucks. I don't support them in any way. That's why I'm basically talking about it right now, being that Ultrasabers isn't what you want unless you want this. Look at that. It's like some kind of ball sack. If I wanted to, I could easily pull this out. Also, I can't show you very well because I don't have a light, but this button, see this? That button is held in place by hot glue. Ain't that fun? No screws, no nothing. So if you accidentally walk this thing out, it ain't going back in. You're gonna have to glue it in some way and get lucky. It's probably gonna look ugly on the outside. Or you have to buy a new saber from Ultrasabers. Ain't that fun? And it's not gonna have any sound, any colors, any nothing. This was $120, remember that. This is a lightsaber from the company Legion Sabers. This has smooth swing, a color spectrum, Look at that. It's changing colors. You can barely see because it's broad daylight, but it's turning different colors, purple, red, whatever you want to say. Lock it. It's got blaster deflection. It's got lock up. I can turn it off. It's got gesture control with a swing, no pushing the button. Turns on, twist of the wrist, and it shuts off. On top of that, it's got, I believe, 12 different sound fonts.
Fallen Apprentice Magenta.
Fallen Apprentice, that's Cal's lightsaber. Awesome. And it's purple too, perfect timing. And I can shut it off. I can change the volume. Low. Mute, quiet. You don't hear jack squat from that. So I can have it just like the Ultrasaber does. You know how much this cost? $80. Maybe less. Companies out there sell lightsabers for so much cheaper with so much more features compared to that company, that sad excuse for a lightsaber company known as Ultrasabers. Ask any lightsaber user out there, anybody in the saber community, we all know Ultrasabers is a scam. And their owner is, in the words of Nacho Libre, a real douche. So you tell me where your money's going. Ah? Or ah? Finally, we're gonna talk about one final thing. Galaxy's Edge and their lightsabers. Galaxy's Edge is, of course, the Star Wars section in Disneyland and Disney World. They provide a service where you can build your own custom lightsaber of different parts and pieces, as well as actual replica hilts from the series. The cool thing about these, as the built ones, you can actually put in a kyber crystal of your own. I have white in here. You can not see it, but you can hear it. And makes like a very subtle swing noise. No motion sensor, no nothing like that. It just feels like you're swinging it. That's it. And then, that's it. And then you can also unscrew these, pop this piece out like this, like one, like two, pop this off, and look at that. Inside is the kyber crystal. That's it. It's a fun lightsaber and a really cool experience. I do recommend it. However, it is very expensive. I want to say around maybe 200 something. If I'm a little off, it might have gone up since then. Either way, these lightsabers are a bit more of the scrolly effect with the blade, being that they're not a neopixel, they're not super bright, but they're lightsabers that are manufactured in Disneyland, Disney World, whatever you want to say. And they basically turn on in bracket segments. That's how I look at it. Where basically this turns on, and then this, and finally this. 4 times. It just flicks up and it looks like it's scrolling up. So let me show that when it's not super dark. So. Also, look how thick this thing is. This is like what I want to say 2 inches thick. My hand goes around it, but my hand is also very small. I can literally fit it around my wrist because I'm a skeleton. Here's a Legion Saber's lightsaber. Look how thin compared to this. Significantly different. It's also lighter. This is heavy. So yes, I would recommend it for the experience, but if you want a lightsaber you can duel with, this ain't it. If you want something you can show off, go for the hilt. Get a replica from Disney because they're doing exactly as they should be in the films, but they're thicker, they're clunkier, so they can fit this detachable lightsaber blade. No other company does this. Galaxy's Edge does have this as an option where their blades can just pop in with a twist, lock in place, not gonna fall out, and it turns on. Pretty cool. Without it, you get this. Nothing. No effect. So that's a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber. And any of their legacy sabers, which they call legacy, but they're in fact replica hilts, it's this. It's these thick hilts. One of the thickest ones, to be honest, is the Cal Kestis hilt. It's super long, longer than the Ultrasaber, and in fact thicker, but better than the Ultrasaber. Always better than the Ultrasaber. The other thing about them, any of the legacy hilts don't change colors. They're the color of the character and that's it. Other companies out there that aren't Disney related will sell lightsabers of the characters that can actually change colors, have different sound fonts and sound effects. So yeah, they're cool to have, but they're not the best if you want to be filming and dueling with these, because they're clunky. As a recap, we talked about baselit sabers, neopixel lightsabers, profi sabers, replica sabers, and of course the Galaxy's Edge lightsabers, and the horrible company known as Ultrasabers. And the 5 factors: looks, comfort and safety, brightness, weight and length, and accessibility and features. Hopefully this will help you figure out exactly what lightsaber you want to go for. In the next video, we're going to be going into all of the types of companies out there that sell the best lightsabers and for what. So we ended here. So thank you all so much for joining me on this episode of Lightsabers Explained. I hope you are able to figure out what kind of lightsaber you're interested in. And in the next episode, we'll be talking about what companies you should be looking into to find the exact lightsaber that's perfect for you. This is Poor Excuse for a Jedi, signing off. May the Force be with you. This has been Lightsabers Explained. We'll see you next time.